stress and how to deal with it. So stress generally has a ceiling and people have a capacity of how much stress they can take. But what you need to think of is, you might think that other people have quite a high capacity for stress, but they started off at the bottom of the ladder. And what stress is, it's generally an incremental leveling up of stages of what you can take in terms of stress. And what you'll find is, what you used to stress about when you were a lot younger, you don't stress about anymore. You think, God, what a silly thing to be so stressed about. I used to worry about this, that and the other. And it seems so insequential when you're a lot older. But what is worth thinking of is, it's a bit of a learning procedure, and it's a bit of building that muscle in your brain and building a tool chest of ways and means and methods of dealing with stress and coping with troubles that come into your life. So 2 things to touch on. The first thing are thoughts. Thoughts enter your brain. You're supposed to have something like anywhere between 10 and 50,000 thoughts a day. It's like, should I throw my key off this bridge? You can't obviously act on every thought that you think, but another thing is, you can't then let thoughts take weight that are negative and detrimental to your mindset. You need to recognise that, well, I didn't take into account the thought that said throw me key off the bridge, but I'm really concentrating on the thought that I'm a failure and I'm not a very good parent or work colleague, or I'm shit at this kind of thing. So why did you neglect that thought, but you hung on and grabbed onto this thought? And it's basically a process of just your subconscious mind and your mindset not being in the right place, and the programs and the cycles that your mind go through. You've not programmed it to ignore the thoughts that are detrimental to your mindset and that are not positive or adding to your productivity. And meditation can help a lot with that, where you clear your brain of all the thoughts and the particular problems and thoughts that are entering your brain on a regular basis generally come to surface during meditation. And lots of different methods, you just need to watch videos on them generally. Imagine them as a balloon or a cloud or something such as that, and you're supposed to let them float away and leave your brain. And it's basically programming yourself to, when you get a negative thought, not to latch onto it and not to let it enter the recurrence of your mindset and let it escape your mind, and only concentrate on positive thoughts. Another thing that works well with that is goal setting, writing it down every day or twice a day. It probably is a version of cognitive behavioural therapy, in the fact that you're feeding yourself, your future self, achievements on a daily basis. So it builds on your motivation and your self-esteem, because you're imagining that you've already achieved the goals that you wish to achieve. So it's kind of lifts your self-esteem, which helps how you deal with stress problems on a daily basis, without a shadow of a doubt. So the first thing is obviously thoughts. The second thing is your future self. So if you imagine yourself in a year's time, 2 years time, 10 years time, what you deal with now and the decisions that you make now, and if you procrastinate on certain tasks, you are essentially affecting yourself further down the line. It's a bit like a credit card. So you buy it now, but then you have to pay for it later, and then every now and then a bit of interest gets added to it. And that's the same with stress and problems. You can have a little problem at the start of the year, and if you don't address it when it's a small problem, it snowballs into a bigger and a bigger problem. But what people generally think, they think of their future self as a superhero who is more mentally stronger, in a better financial position and better at dealing with problems. So people defer problems instead of dealing with them at the present time to the future self. But all that really does is you're shitting on yourself just further down the line. And what also happens is the problem increases in interest and its size, it becomes bigger, it snowballs. So a good thing to do is think about your future self and think of how a problem will progress and evolve. And a small problem and being slightly disciplined more now, it's like if you did something every day for a year, it might be something small every day for a year, but after a month, after 6 months, after a year, it's built up to quite a lot. And it can go both ways. It can be a problem that starts off small every day that builds up to a big problem, or it can be you being disciplined a little bit more every day can build up to that month being better than the last month, then the next 3 months being better than the previous 3 months, and then the year gets you running away with yourself on a positive slant and not on a negative slant. Say you're doing your bookkeeping and you leave it all till the end of the month because it's due at the end of the month. Why don't you do it a bit every day, and then it gets to the end of the month and you've done a bit every day. You've got 31 days worth of little 5-minute slots. So then when you sit down at the end of the month, you haven't got a day and a half's worth of work. You've only got maybe an hour worth of work of collecting all your notes and all the work that you've done in the previous days. So it's being disciplined on a daily basis. And another thing as well is when you're disciplined in a certain fashion, in a certain way, even if it's so small, that can have a knock-on effect not just on the task or the discipline that you are applying it to, but on your wider scope of being disciplined at varied tasks. So say you've up your fitness and you're doing sit-ups, press-ups, and you're doing running and cycling more, you will feel that your self-esteem has been lifted by being more disciplined and successful in that area and that discipline. So then you'll be like, oh well, I just need to apply that to different areas and different facets of your life, and it has a total knock-on effect and a ripple effect moving out, and every other bit of your life starts increasing because you've just been disciplined in one little area. It's a good knock-on effect that can bleed out into very other areas. So say you do go to the gym, you'll feel better about yourself, your self-esteem will go up, your confidence will go up. When you're in social situations, you'll be more confident in talking in front of people, you'll feel better around your partner, you'll be more confident at work, clothes will fit better. Oh, I haven't been in them jeans since God knows when. And it's funny how little tiny changes can have such a knock-on effect, but you need to think of it in the opposite way as well. In every day, a little loss can add up to be a massive reduction in your self-confidence, in your self-esteem. Little tiny things every day. And what you need to do on a daily basis is seek out wins. So you might not always have, I've bought this house or I've got a real good deal, but you might have, I've done all of my sit-ups today, I've done my goals today, I've written them down, I've listened to a positive motivational video today, I've got my bookkeeping done for 3 days on the trot. And them little wins all lift you up. And when you're working from, say, a level here and you get a bit of stress, say you get your confidence knocked a little bit, it brings you down to here. It's not like you're here and you get knocked down to here sort of thing. When you have something that enters your life that's negative, you want to be trying to keep lifting yourself up all the time, so you've got a bit of a capacity to deal with stress and strife and things that get shot at you on a daily basis. And another thing to sort of think of, and it's very hard when it happens, when your confidence gets knocked or you have a setback, it can massively knock your confidence and your self-esteem, and you feel like you're an idiot, you're a failure, and you're crap at what you do. And it can take an awfully long time to build that confidence back up. But this is where the little incremental, tiny little baby steps and the day-by-day little disciplines help in building you back up to where you want to be. And what you need to think of is it's a case of biding your time, getting your head down, day by day, little wins, little 1% increments, bit by bit by bit by bit, and I'll get back up there. And then when I'm up there, it's protecting that confidence and that self-esteem, and really protecting it and trying to stay in a positive mental attitude as much as you possibly can. So obviously look at the other videos that I've done on writing down your goals, having a schedule, and getting rid of toxic people out of your life. All help you deal with stress, and keeping positive people around you is a good way, because energy is never lost, it's only ever transferred. So if you're already in a negative state, be aware that you are giving negative energy out to other people. But if you are only surrounding yourself with negative people, you're only transferring negative energy from each other. You're not getting a very good influx of positive energy to lift yourself up. So it can be very counterintuitive to where you were trying to increase your positive energy, you're getting knocked back down by somebody else's. So always remember that as well with your family and your partners and stuff. The energy's never lost, and sometimes you sometimes have to take one for the team. If your other half's had a bit of a bad day, they just want to transfer their negative energy onto you, and it's obviously you don't want that to happen, but sometimes you just have to take one for the team, and vice versa. There'll be days where you have done it to them, you've transferred your negative energy onto them, but it's then taking a deep breath and moving on from that particular, like, draw a line under it, right? Let's stop talking about that, let's move on to something more positive. But meditation's good. Get them thoughts out your brain. Not every thought is reality. The thoughts that you want to become reality are the thoughts that you need to repeat in your brain and you need to hang on to. Everything else, you need to blow away, you need to shot off the top of a bridge, a cliff, or whatever metaphor that you need. You need to let them thoughts leave your brain. You want to hang on to things that you want to become reality. So if you want, I'm fat, I'm depressed, I'm going nowhere, I'm poor, I'm not a very good parent, they're all them thoughts. If you want them to become reality, then you need to hang on to them. If you don't want them to become reality, then you need to F them off, basically. You can't hang on to them. You need to be hanging on to, I'm a great parent, I'm a great partner, I'm in the best physical condition of my life, I'm working on myself daily, I'm increasing my knowledge, I'm reading books, I am working towards all my goals. They're the thoughts that you need to hang on to, because always remember, your thoughts become reality. And that's basically the ins and outs of dealing with stress in a nutshell.